Hello, this is Gradye Parsons, and this is our continuing series of study on the Book of Order of the Presbyterian Church, U.S.A. We are continuing our study of the foundations of polity, and today we're looking at section F2.03, the Confessions as Statements of the Faith of the Church Catholic. In its confessions, the Presbyterian Church witnesses to the faith of the Church Catholic. The confessions express the faith of the one, holy, Catholic, and Apostolic Church in recognition of the canonical scriptures and the formulation and adoption of the ecumenical creeds, notably the Nicene and Apostles' Creed, with their definitions of the mystery of the triune God and the incarnation of the eternal words of God in Jesus Christ. Now we see this reinforced in the Westminster Confession in chapter 27, it talks about of the Church. The Church Catholic or Universal Church, which is invisible, consists of the whole number of the elect that have been, are, or shall be gathered into one under Christ the head thereof, and is the spouse, the body, and the fullness of him that filleth it all. The visible church, which is also Catholic or universal under the gospel, consists of all those throughout the world that profess the true religion, together with their children, and is the kingdom of the Lord Jesus, the house and family of God. And on it goes. So what we're saying in this particular part of the foundations of polity, this whole chapter is about the confessions, is that the confessions, with some exceptions, don't just belong to us. That part of our confessions are also not just a recognition of who we are, acknowledgement of who we are as Reformed people, but it's also who we are as people who are Christians and live together on this planet that God has given us. That the Apostles' Creed and the Nicene Creed are creeds that have been part of the historic understanding of the church about what it means to be God, who Jesus Christ is, and those come to us through all the different chapters of the life of the church until they came to reside as part of our understanding of what it means to be church in our particular place, in our particular time. Now what this means for you and I is that when we stand up on Sunday and we're asked to recite the creed, our confession of what we've just heard the preacher preach, we are saying words that in many languages, in many forms, in many different dialects, in many places all over the world that have been said for hundreds and hundreds of years, of people proclaiming and professing their faith, that we're part of that huge river of experience that comes through those folks, people who have said those creeds, sometimes at the risk of death, people who have said those creeds in grand cathedrals, people who have said those creeds in humble places around a tree as they study the Bible, people who have said those creeds in the hundreds of languages around the world. All of that is part of the mix of what comes to us, and we say that on Sunday. It's like receiving some ancient gift. Every Sunday we gather together that's been handed down from generation to generation, and now it's our privilege. It's our privilege to be able to say what it is we believe, whether we're using the Apostles' Creed or the Nicene Creed or some of the other creeds that we share with other churches around the world. That we have this privilege, this wonderful privilege, not only to have the sacraments that have been part of the early church, but also these basic creedal formulas that have shaped and marked the church and have kind of described what it means to be church and what it means to be people of faith. All those things come to us, and so when we exhale and we say those words, we're saying, in some sense, all of the history and the glory and the treasure and the struggle and the success that has been the church through all those times. And I think it's important to see that even the reformers and all of their concern about what should be part of the church and what shouldn't be part of the church, they kept these precious things, the Apostles' Creed and the Nicene Creed. They kept these creeds and in a sense built on those creeds and what they were willing to do. So the question I want to ask you is this: what do you believe? What do you believe is happening when you stand up on Sunday and say those creeds? Do you have a sense of the whole sense of time that's going on there, this whole sense of being part of something much bigger than yourself? Have you ever discussed with your session what it means to say the creeds and what those creeds are meant to say, what we're meant to be saying when we say them? How are the creeds being taught in your church? How are they being shared with others? Do you even know what the creeds say? Do you even have to think through, maybe slowly, what the creeds are saying to you? Many of our catechisms go through the creeds to help us understand. So my challenge to you is to get ready when you say the Apostles' Creed or the Nicene Creed in your church, that realize you're acknowledging a church that's bigger than your congregation, that's bigger than the Presbyterian Church, that's as big as the whole wide world, and it's as big as God's timing, and that you are part of that. Thank you, and we'll talk again.